Shalom. I like to say all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Kodesh. Double honors unto the apostles and elders of GMS, who are the true leaders of Israel today. And salutations to all of the Akim who do this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedoms to do so, as well as the scattered Israelites who come looking like the heathen but are not, by way of their forefathers' seeds who are Israelite men. The true name of the Most High is Yahweh, and his son's name is Yahushai. And the Lord's holy chosen people are the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, as we're the ones who are suffering under the curses in the book of Deuteronomy. My name is Zakalia, and I'm a prophet sent from Yahweh Shemishai to let you all know of the things that are coming, to let you all know of the Lord's prophecies, the Lord's judgments, and the Lord's mercies. Okay? And we are very rapidly approaching the time of great and severe judgment upon the world, and all of the signs are there. All right? And what are the prophecies that we look towards right now? The number one prophecy is that Mark of the Beast prophecy. Keep an eye out on it, which is a microchip. Keep an eye out on the system that's being developed in order to allow it to operate on a global and mass scale. The Mark of the Beast prophecy is where the microchip is made mandatory worldwide, where you will be faced with the hour of temptation, which will be, are you going to take the microchip or not? Because this microchip is going to become what is needed in order to eat, what is needed in order to receive medical services, what is needed in order to receive government services. In other words, you will need this microchip in order to function and to live in society as you know it today. This is where it's heading towards. And the systems, which are these digital identification systems and digital monetary systems and everything going digital, are all happening day by day at a very rapid and swift pace if you keep up with it. All right? That prophecy is very important to come to pass, because that prophecy must occur first in order for the return of our Lord Yahushai to happen. Because when it is that Yahushai returns, he's going to deliver the elect of the nation of Israel from the four corners of the earth, and then 1/3 of our people from America. And then America is going to be destroyed, and 2/3 of our people are going to be destroyed in America. Right? And there's a judgment for taking the mark of the beast, which is that microchip, which is going to be death by way of thermonuclear fire. So this mark of the beast prophecy, keep your eyes out for it. Another prophecy that is to come is the prophecy of World War III. And you can see, by way of the geopolitical tensions that are happening around the world, you can see based off of relating it to the prophecies that all of the major players are acting up. You have America, which is known as Mystery Babylon the Great in Revelation chapter 17, which is slated for destruction. Its destruction is spoken about in several places within the scriptures. All right, Revelation 18 lets us know about the destruction of America. Isaiah 13, etc. All right, America is going to be destroyed, man. And you have the state of Israel, which is a major player as well. You have NATO and the EU, who are major players as well. All of these countries are acting up. They're having a warlike spirit being put upon them from Yahweh Shemishai to go to war. You have then on the opposing end their enemies, who is Russia and Iran and the rest of those allies on Russia's end, which you can take a look at Russia's allies by Googling and taking a look at the BRICS nations, BRICS. Right? The Lord is rising them up, putting that spirit upon them. Tensions are increasing day by day. The part about as well, America's allies turning against her, that is all happening as well. You can see the deterioration of the relationship between America and the NATO and EU happening in real time. Everything is happening in real time. We're literally living through it. You have the prophecy of Jacob's trouble, okay, which is a time like never before upon us as a nation. And this time is very rapidly approaching us. You can see by the moves that Trump is making right now in America. You have the judgment of famine and pestilence and the sword. We have terrible times that are coming, man. And all of the signs are there. Those of us that sincerely believe in Yahweh Shemishai and have the full 100% truth, starting with the elder apostle Tahar of Great Millstone, and all of us that fall under him, we have the full and complete truth. So we can clearly see by measuring the time diligently, as the scriptures say, to know that we can boldly claim that we are at the end of the rulership of the so-called white man. This is the kingdom of the Edomites, Esau's kingdom. And their wicked and vile kingdom, we will be experiencing all of these prophecies occurring, leading up to the salvation of the elect of the nation of Israel. In 2 Ezra chapter 9 and verse 1, it says, He answered me then and said, Measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs past which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Right, so we're to measure the time diligently. The scriptures say that we are watchmen that are set upon thy walls. In Isaiah chapter 62 and verse 6, it says, I have set watchmen upon thy walls, O Jerusalem, talking to you Israelites. And the watchman is set for your Israelites to let you know of the things that are coming. Our job as prophets is to prophesy and to edify the elect of the nation of Israel, and to warn the entire nation, to let the entire nation to know what is coming. Right? We are to let those of our people that refuse to repent, the unbelievers, those that are slated for destruction, they are meant to know their judgment for not returning to our power. Right? The warning is out there. And so it will be the elect of the nation of Israel that will take heed to the warning and will have the fear of Yahweh Shemi Shai put upon them, which, those of us that are in this truth, we're of the hopeful elect, and we do have the fear of Yahweh Shemi Shai upon us. All right, fear is what drives our actions. All right. So I have set watchmen upon thy walls, O Jerusalem, which shall never hold their peace day nor night. Ye that make mention of the Lord Yahweh keep not silence. Right. So we shall never hold their peace day nor night. So the prophets of Yahweh Shemi Shai are continuously warning the nation of Israel about the things that are coming: great and severe judgment, calamity, destruction. Okay? Ye that make mention of the Lord Yahweh keep not silence, right? And we do not keep silence as of for now, because eventually we will be silent, because a part of the prophecies to come is the famine of the word prophecy. Okay? And that famine of the word prophecy in Amos chapter 8 and verse 11 says, Behold, the days come, saith the Lord Yahweh, that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread nor a thirst for water, but of hearing the words of the Lord Yahweh. Okay? So right now the prophets are diligently doing this work, prophesying day in, day out. But the time is going to come where eventually this word is going to be taken away from you people, because the word will have gone out to those who were meant to receive it. And then the judgment, as it is written in Revelation chapter 7, those judgments will come. Okay? And this is a very stern warning from Yahweh Shemi Shai, man. It's not something to play around with. You people out there, you Israelites, think that this is some kind of joke. You think this is some type of game. But you see, the thing is, when the time comes, when these prophecies start to come to pass, when you're experiencing Jacob's trouble and the famine and everything, and you can clearly see that these men were speaking the truth, then you're going to be running around looking for these men. But as it says in Amos 8 and verse 12, and they shall wander from sea to sea, and from the north even to the east. They shall run to and fro to seek the word of the Lord Yahweh, and shall not find it. So you won't be able to find the word of Yahweh Shemi Shai, because things are going to happen where the prophets of Yahweh Shemi Shai will no longer be able to go out on the highways and byways, and they will simply take away this word from off of the internet, which it is primarily out there on the YouTube, right? That is the main form of social media. And Esau can simply just use their AI technology to get rid of this word on the YouTube. Okay? And when that time is meant to come, then it will come. Because you have some people that will be saying, okay, well, why is it that right now They don't do that. Why is it that they allow you guys to be out on the highways and byways? And the answer is simple, because Yahweh Shemishai has allowed it to happen in this type of way. When the time comes for the famine of the word to come, then it will come. All right, and it is a very stern warning, because you people really will not be able to hear this word anymore. There's a scripture in Ezekiel chapter 3 and verse 26, and it says, "And I will make thy tongue cleave to the roof of thy mouth, that thou shalt be dumb, and shalt not be to them a reprover, for they are a rebellious host." So with the famine of the word, the prophets of Yahweh Shemishai will no longer be prophesying. All right, as it says, "And I will make thy tongue cleave to the roof of thy mouth, and thou shalt be dumb." Right? Dumb meaning from the Hebrew word alam, which is to be tongue-tied, put to silence. So we won't, you find us, even if you encounter one of, the prophets of Yahweh Shemishai, we won't be speaking to you. And the Lord is going to put the Spirit upon us to not dissect this, to provide this information, the word of Yahweh Shemishai to you people anymore. And that's when it's really deadly. Because that means that at that point, the elect are the elect and the non-elect are the non-elect. All right, the gates of mercy, which are open right now, would be closed. Right now, it's a spiritual ark that is being built. Right, before this second death comes, which is the second death is death by way of fire. Right, the first death was by way of the flood, which was by way of water. And the people witnessed a physical ark that Noah built. And Noah was warning the people continuously. And it was not until that time that the flood started to happen, that the rain occurred for the first time, that the people then believed. But Yahweh Shemishai is not dealing with that type of spirit. Okay, Yahweh Shemishai is dealing with the spirit where simply in these days, before certain things are occurring, that the elect will simply wake up. People will wake up to this word, man. And that's what it is. Okay? So you'll be running up and down to several places where you've seen these men, and you won't be able to find them, and you won't be able to find the word on the YouTube and the social media anymore. It will be simply scrubbed. And you won't be able to remember the names of Yahweh and the names of Yahushai, which is very important, because you need to know these names. As it says in the book of Acts chapter 4 and verse 12, "Neither is there salvation in any other, for there is none other name under heaven given among men whereby we must be saved." So you must know the names of Yahweh and Yahushai in order to be saved. And there are no deviations from the names or any shortcuts. The name of the Father is Yahweh, and the name of His Son is Yahushai, point blank period. All right, and you won't be able to find these names, man, in those times, because in the time when mercy was open unto you, you rejected it. You rejected mercy. So the spiritual ark, which is being built right now, which is open, it will be closed, man, and you will be suffering from the severe judgments that are coming. All right, and going back to how we know that we're in these times, is because we are to measure the time diligently. So we're continuously observing what's going on in the world. We're continuously looking at current events and relating it to Bible prophecy, and it is so clear to see. It's like everything that is happening right now. There's no day that goes by where there isn't a multitude of things to speak on. These are the days that we're in. So back to 2 Ezra chapter 9 and verse 1, it says, "He answered me then and said, Measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest parts of the signs past which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made." "Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning," right? So Yahweh Shemishai ordained this all to happen. And we're all simply living through it. We're living through the script. Every single thing that you see happening is in perfect order. Every single second that happens, every single minute, every single hour, day, week, month, is all in perfect order. From Yahweh Shemishai, or rather by Yahweh Shemishai. Okay? And so there are signs to look upon that will let us know that we're at the end of the kingdom of the Edomites, these so-called white people, because this is their vile, wicked kingdom that we're living through right now. We're living in that last part of the statue seen by Nebuchadnezzar that was interpreted by the prophet Daniel. We're in the last part of the toes, right? The iron mixed with miry clay. That is this kingdom, and then the next kingdom to come is the kingdom of the Israelites. The kingdom that is going to be ruled by Yahweh Shemishai. Okay? And the signs are clearly there. You know, the thing about it, which may seem ironic, is that when it comes to these signs, like the earthquakes and the uproars of the people around the world, they are such a common occurrence right now that people, they hear about it and they blink and they go about their day. You know, it's not a shocking occurrence to them unless they are personally affected. You know, so like the earthquakes have been happening continuously and they're becoming more frequent and more powerful. You know, but people, because of their frequency, people only care about it if it affects them. But it very much is a sign of the end. And the other day, Russia got hit by a very powerful earthquake, where it was so powerful that given the location of Russia to America, there were tsunami warnings for the west coast of America, right? Then you have the uproars of the people around the world, where, you know, just throughout life in these past days, you have people that are going out and they're protesting in various different ways for various different reasons. And the scriptures let you know why they're protesting. And lets you know in Psalms chapter 12, Salakio, Proverbs chapter 29 and verse 2, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. So, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. Which means that there won't be any uproars of the people around the world. There won't be any protesting nor anything like that. But the people are doing these things. Which means that the righteous are not in authority, and the righteous are the Israelites. But when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. And who are the wicked? The nation of Edom, who are these so-called white people. Right? They're the ones that are in rulership, and that's why the people are mourning. That's why they're continuously going out into the streets, protesting against their governments and their officials, their mayors, all across the world. All right? And it really shows you who's in rulership, man. The so-called white man, the wicked. It is their way of life that dominates this world. Their language, their currency, their lifestyle, their democracy, their ways. And then when you look at their ways and their lifestyle, it is opposite to the law, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Shemishai. Literally, in every single way. So they are the wicked. And it is the wicked that are in rulership, and the wicked are slated to have their kingdom come to an end. So the signs are there regarding the end. So 2 Ezra chapter 9 and verse 3. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. For like as all that is made in the world hath a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest. The end of the world is manifest. But it's not talking about the world as we know it, as you have some bugged out false doctrines that teach whatever kind of madness they teach. It is talking about the end of an age, the end of a period of time, which right now we're living in the period of time of the rulership of the so-called white man. We're living in the period of time of the blessing of Esau, where he would get the fatness of the earth and the dew of heaven, and by the sword he would rule. So his blessing was that he would have absolute rulership of the world, and we're living through that right now. We're suffering through it. We the Israelites, we are slaves unto the so-called white man. We are in captivity right now. This is not our rest. This is not our kingdom. Okay? And so we're approaching the end of his kingdom, and at the end of his kingdom, we're going to see the prophecies of Yahweh Shemishai manifest. And the prophecies that are to come are of great and severe judgment. In Matthew chapter 24, because we're very much in these times, and these scriptures have been coming out more than ever before in these last days, because we're literally in this period of time. This is Matthew chapter 24 and verse 3. And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be, and what shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world? So the disciples had a question for Yahushua. Lord, what are the things that we shall see before your return? Because Yahushua is returning to deliver the elect of the nation of Israel, to destroy America, to bring punishment to our people that refuse to believe and those who take the microchip, and to set up the kingdom of heaven, which will also be taking Esau out of rulership and putting Esau and the rest of the heathen into captivity. Right? So the word world here, as it says, what shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world? And it is in the Greek word Strong's G165, which is aeon, a period of time and age. So it's talking about the age and the period of time of the rulership of the so-called white man. Because once again, it is his kingdom that will be occurring before our kingdom is set up. Okay? And it says it actually in 2nd Ezra chapter 6 and verse 7. Then answered I and said, what shall be the parting asunder of the times, or when shall be the end of the first and the beginning of it that followeth? And he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau, which was symbolic, right? Jacob holding the heel of Esau, right? Because it's like Jacob, right? Israel, the nation of Israel, which Yahushua is a part of, will pull Esau out of his rulership, right? So it's like pulling his heel, dragging him down, dragging him out of that position, okay? For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that follows. So there it is once again. Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. So Esau, you know, referring to once again that period of time, right? That's the end of an age. And Jacob is the beginning of it that follows. So the end of Esau's kingdom is the beginning of our kingdom, right? So going back to Matthew chapter 24 and verse 3, and as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, tell us, when shall these things be, and what shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world, the end of an age? And Yahushua answered and said unto them, take heed that no man deceive you, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am Hamashiach, and shall deceive many. Right? And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. And we've been going through this, literally experiencing rumors of wars, a very common occurrence right now where you continuously hear about X nation rising against X nation. But the thing about it is that there are two parts to it. One, rumors of wars are supposed to occur, so it is a part of Bible prophecy. And two, the rumors of wars, while it is happening, the tensions between all of these major powers that are going to be a part of World War III, it is happening, and it will eventually lead to World War III over there in Western Asia, which they call the so-called Middle East, right? So those tensions have to build, and they are building while these rumors of wars are occurring, because eventually it will happen where there will be a war. But it says all these must come to pass, but the end is not yet. So Yahushua let us know exactly. Don't get too excited, but it is a sign of the end. For nation shall rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom, and that's literally what is happening. Literally, day in, day out. You can visit the various news sites right now and you will be able to see it. And there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. And there it is once again, the signs that we will see. There shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. So to speak on the earthquakes again, it's mentioned here that earthquakes in diverse places is a sign of the end, a sign of what will occur before the return of our Lord Yahushua, a frequent occurrence. The other day in Japan, they had a multitude of earthquakes hitting them over the span of a week. And the last time I checked, it was over 1,500 earthquakes. Imagine living through that. 1,500 earthquakes that happened within a week, to the point where people had to evacuate. And these things will continuously happen. Then you have the famines and the pestilences, which this is a part of the severe judgment that is to come. The pestilences, right now, there's always something new coming up. Always. Always. If you keep up with it. There's so many that I can't remember all of them, but I will try. Alright, so you had the end of last year, in December, they were talking about the quademic and the bird flu situation, right? There was a state of emergency that was declared in California over the bird flu, and there has been reports all throughout this year about the bird flu and its ramifications and the effects of it on the poultry and on the egg prices, which literally has happened. The news about the bird flu has been something that has come up prominently, and then it dies down a little bit. But when you look up about it, something's always happening there. Then there has been different reports of the henipavirus in America, in Alabama. Then there was a report about the Marburg eye disease that came up. There was a report about the Ebola scare in New York, where they were in hazmat suits in New York City. There was the report of the quademic, which was a mixture of 4 different diseases, which included the norovirus, the norovirus, the bird flu, the C19, and one other that they mentioned. The other day they mentioned another one too. I can't remember what it is. Can't remember. But there's a new one on the block, right? And this one is the Legionnaire's disease, that apparently you have people that are perishing from it. Okay? So the point that I'm making is that there is a plethora of pestilences that are coming up, and it's being brought to the news, right? And it is a part of these end time prophecies. It's a part of the great judgment. And the thing about these pestilences is that they will eventually reach to a point where People are going to be dying by the hundreds and they're going to be perishing by the thousands. Okay? And they are out there by the multitude and they're building up too. And let's not forget as well that the World Health Organization has already put the notice out there that there will be another pandemic. They said that it is guaranteed. They don't know when it will happen or when, but they said that it can happen as soon as tomorrow, or it can happen as soon as a few years. They don't know. They said they leave it cryptic, but they say something is coming. But most importantly, Bible prophecy states that it will come. Okay? And so in Ezekiel, Ezekiel chapter 7, there are a few here, but I'll go to chapter 7 and verse 15. The sword is without, and the pestilence and the famine within. He that is in the field shall die with the sword, and he that is in the city, famine and pestilence shall devour him. So the judgment is coming, and both pestilence and famine is coming, and you won't be able to escape the judgment that is coming from the Lord. All right? The pestilence is also spoken about in Ezekiel chapter 6 and verse 12. He that is far off shall die of the pestilence, and he that is near shall fall by the sword, and he that remaineth and is besieged shall die by the famine. Thus will I accomplish my fury upon them. Right? Because severe judgment is coming onto the nation of Israel, man. There's no warning to be given to the heathen, because salvation isn't for them. We don't care about them, but for the nation of Israel. Right? The message is to repent to our power and hope to be saved, hope for salvation, and hope to not be to take part in these awful judgments, man. Okay? But even as you can see, the Lord groups famine and pestilence together, combo. Okay? But it will be a very terrible time. You know, in the same book of Ezekiel, it says a sword is furbished. This is Ezekiel chapter 21 and verse 8. Again the word of the Lord Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, prophesy and say, Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, say, a sword is sharpened and also furbished. It is sharpened to make a sore slaughter. It is furbished that it may glitter. Should we then make mirth? It contemneth the rod of my son as every tree. And the answer is no. We do not make mirth because we are in the time of severe judgment, man. As the scriptures say, Ecclesiastes chapter 7 and verse 4. The heart of the wise is in the house of mourning, but the heart of fools is in the house of mirth. Right? So the heart of the wise is in the house of mourning, which is going to be the elect of the nation of Israel. Right? In mourning, understanding the situation at hand, understanding that we're in captivity, understanding that the wicked are in rulership and we're slaves to them, understanding the judgments of Yahweh Shemishai that are coming. Right? We're not in mirth. We're not gleeful about the situation, the predicament that we're in. All right? We have great fear upon us of Yahweh Shemishai, and we're continuously meditating upon salvation and mercy. But the heart of fools is in the house of mirth. So the house of fools, which will be you unbelieving Israelites, you're in the house of mirth. You're going about your days in captivity, suffering, finding joy in this kingdom, looking forward to the next day in this kingdom, looking forward to the next event in this kingdom, making your 5-year plans and your 10-year plans, and looking forward to the future and what it could be. You know, where essentially your mind and heart is stuck in this kingdom and in this place, and you're gleeful. That's to be stupid, okay? Given the condition that we're in and what will be occurring in the very near future. All right? So Ezekiel 21 and verse 9, Son of man, prophesy and say, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, say, a sword is sharpened and also furbished. It is sharpened to make a sore slaughter. It is furbished that it may glitter. Should we then make mirth? It contemneth the rod of my son as every tree, and he hath given it to be furbished, that it may be handled. This sword is sharpened, and it is furbished to give into the hand of the slayer. Cry and howl, son of man, for it shall be upon my people, the Israelites, it shall be upon all the princes of Israel. Terrors by reason of the sword shall be upon my people. Smite therefore upon thy thigh. Okay, so the sword is being sharpened and furbished for the wicked and unbelieving of our people, man. And you know what the Lord's sword is, which is Esau Edom, the so-called white man, right? That will be the one that will be bringing about all of this hell and all of this chaos onto the world. All right, the famine is by design, the pestilences, right? If you're privy to certain knowledge, you will know that Esau has been given knowledge and technology to be able to do and create certain things. Remember that this is his kingdom. As it says in the book of Job chapter 9 and verse 24, the earth is given into the hands of the wicked. This is Esau's kingdom. All right? So he has certain power, and he has power by way of his technology. Okay? And so that sword, to show you proof, in Psalms chapter 17 and verse 3, it says, arise, O Lord, Yahweh, disappoint him, cast him down, deliver my soul from the wicked, which is thy sword. So the sword that is being sharpened, right, is judgment from Yahweh Shemishai, and Esau is that sword. So the Lord is going to be putting that spirit upon Esau Edom at its peak of his hatred for us to bring about calamity, and it's already started. All right? You can see by way of the whole immigration situation and the whole ICE situation, the hell that has been brought onto our people, the so-called Latinos, right? The Northern Kingdom Israelites. Okay, because when you look at the whole deportation situation and those who are targeted, that has been brought out from mainstream media and also brought out from the social media, video recordings that have been put on social media, it is our people, it's Latino people that have been targeted. You don't see immigrants of so-called white people being affected by this, or even the other nations. You really only see, literally, you know, if there are other nations that are being affected, I haven't seen it. So I'm speaking to what I have seen. The multitude of videos of the harassment and the plight of what is going on regarding the terrible situations and those that have died in custody of Esau and his deportation officers has been Latino people, Northern Kingdom Israelites, right? So our people have been suffering from that. And now you have what Trump has done, where Trump has issued some kind of law in Washington, D.C., and he has deployed the National Guard, which is the military, out there into the streets of D.C. And then on my way here, I was watching a brother's video, and there's a of course, as usual, videos come out on social media by the multitude of what is happening in the world. And of course, the videos that are coming out are videos of you so-called Negroes in America being harassed by the authorities, the police, the National Guard, the military out there in DC, right? It is our people that are the ones that are being targeted. This is all intentional, okay? And Trump, he's very much so coming in the spirit of Emperor Nero. You know what I'm saying? Very much. He's of that same spirit. Okay, so Trump represents Esau Edom, the so-called white man. Okay, he's a puppet set up by the wicked elite of Esau Edom to fulfill their desires, right? And so he's bringing hell to America in several different types of ways. And so now you Negroes are starting to be caught up out there. All right, as it says from the news, you have So first of all, because this thing has escalated very quickly. First, from the Washington Post, FBI dispatching agents to DC streets as Trump ways calling National Guard. Then 2 days after that, from the New York Times, Trump orders National Guard to Washington and takeover of Capitol's police. Right? And he's saying it's because of all of the whatever situation is going on out there in DC. Which to me, I see it and believe it for what it is, which is order out of chaos, right? They have their agents out there to create certain kinds of situations so that they can have a response to it. And their response is by mobilizing the military, right? And a few weeks ago, when Trump was talking about the whole tariff situation, if I'm recalling correctly, right? There were protests in America, all across America, by the thousands, of people being against the tariffs, and Trump was deploying the military, okay, and whatever officials to various places in America, mobilizing them, okay. So one point to look out for, to take notice to, is to see how quickly things are escalating, how quickly he's bringing about these things, how swiftly he's moving, right? It's just like how he's moving very swiftly with implementing the stable coin, which is the digital dollar, which it acts as a central bank digital currency, right? It's a 1-to-1 ratio to the US dollar. He's quickly has implemented the digitalization of the medical system. The first thing that he did when he made his first official announcement, he spoke about his $500 billion artificial intelligence infrastructure that they're implementing in America, right? Those things are all about bringing about the mark of the beast, which is the microchip on a global mass scale, right? Building up the smart cities and the 15-minute cities. He's moving very quickly. The devil is moving very quickly, man. All right, with the devil being Esau Edom. So yes, Esau is the Lord's sword, and it is the sword that is going to be used upon our people in these last days to bring about severe judgment. And it's starting, man. Okay? And this devil is moving quickly. In Revelation chapter 12 and verse 12, it says, "Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time." So he's going to be coming with great wrath. right? And this is a very hateful creature, man. The Edomites are a very hateful nation, especially towards the nation of Israel. They have a perpetual hatred towards us. The interaction between Esau and Jacob, where Jacob received the blessing, supplanted Esau, which is all through the Spirit. Esau said that he will slay his brother Jacob. Esau being these so-called white people. The nation of the Edomites that are in rulership right now, they have a very deep hatred for us. And every single chance that they have gotten, they have decided to be able to lay hands upon us and to destroy us. They have done it. Okay? This is not a play around thing, man. You are to not trust their enemy, and they are our enemy. They are enemies to the Israelites. They are enemies to Yahweh Shemishai. And the Lord created them with that kind of spirit. They are about to bring severe and horrible chaos to you Israelites. And he knoweth that he hath a short time, so he's coming with great wrath. Okay? And you can see him implementing these measures right now. And he's targeting our people. And to show you proof of that kind of spirit that they have upon them, all right? In Psalms chapter 137 and verse 7, it says, "Remember, O Lord, the children of Edom in the day of Jerusalem," right? Edom, the so-called white man, Jerusalem, the Israelites, us, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, who said, raise it even to the foundation thereof. Right? So raise it means to leave destitute. The Hebrew word ira, right? To leave destitute, to empty, to uncover, to demolish. Right? So this is the kind of spirit that the Edomites have towards us. Right? Let me read it again. "Remember, O Lord, the children of Edom in the day of Jerusalem, who said, raise it even to the foundation thereof." As in burn it down. Destroy it. That's the spirit that these so-called white people have towards us. You people haven't realized who and what they are. Y'all haven't interacted with a so-called white person. Y'all need to start being real with yourselves, man. Okay? If you really want to understand who and what they are, because Esau will play the hypocrite to your face, so you know, you can't blame an Israelite for that. They're very good at being deceptive. But the ones that smile in your face are the ones that are more deadly than the ones that are outwardly letting you know that they hate you. Right? But if you go to an online space, you go on the internet, where they still have anonymity right now, but that anonymity is going to be taken away soon with those digital IDs, because your online ID is going to be tied to your digital ID, and your digital ID is eventually going to be transferred to the microchip, right? But the digital ID is a stepping stone. So right now there's anonymity on the internet, but eventually there won't be. So because of the anonymity, you have a whole bunch of Edomites on there who can say whatever it is that they want to say. And because of that, and they don't face any repercussions, you can see in online spaces, in various places on social media, the level of hate that they have for us. Unprovoked. I'm telling you. Alright? These Edomites hate us. And it's the entire nation that hates us, man and woman. Okay? So they're going to be coming with that great wrath. Their spirit is going to be activated to its apex of hatred for us. And they're dying to lay hands upon us, man. And they're doing it every single chance they get. And it's just going to escalate to a very terrible point. So in Revelation chapter 6 and verse 4, it says, "And there went out another horse that was red," which is Esau Edom, the so-called white man. "And power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, and to take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another, and there was given unto him a great sword. There was given unto him a great sword. It was given unto him because the Lord gave it to him, right? Everything is ordained from Yahweh Shemishai. And verse 6, and verse now, Revelation chapter 6 and verse 8. And I looked, and behold, a pale horse, which is talking about Esau Edom, the so-called white man. And his name that sat on him was Death. And hell followed with him. Now hell is a condition of being. There's no such thing as a place that you burn up in. That's a false doctrine. Hell is a condition of being. So right now the Israelites, we are in hell because we're suffering under the curses, which means that we're in captivity, and we're suffering under captivity under the Edomites, or these so-called white people who are the wicked, right? Our life is terrible. We are attacked unprovoked. All you have to do is be an Israelite walking and breathing, and you have Esau and the other nations attacking you unprovoked. It is a part of, our judgment, what we're going through, but it is hell. And so Esau is bringing a next level of hell to the world, where there's going to be mass death, mass tribulation, famine, mass disease, martial law, concentration camps, and the mark of the beast, which is the microchip. And hell followed with him, and power was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth. The fourth part of the earth is talking about America. To kill with sword, and with hunger. So to kill with sword and with hunger. So to kill with hunger and with death, to kill with death and with the beasts of the earth, right? So Esau is going to be doing these things, man. Esau is the Lord's sword. So the famine very much is going to be something that is by design. It is being orchestrated literally right now in front of our faces. The supply chain already got hit, right? During the worldwide pandemic, and it has not recovered. Okay? And remember, the food isn't just affected by way of there isn't food growing on the plant, the crops growing and the trees producing and stuff like that. That's not the only way. As I mentioned, the supply chain. So when you have the supply chain being broken down, right, the method of transportation to deliver the products, right? You have inventory management. That's literally a whole profession, inventory management and supply chain management. It's an entire profession and an entire career. When those things are broken down and you have other parts of it that are broken down within the system, the food becomes affected. The food also, as we have literally experienced and witnessed, can be affected by disease, right? The bird flu showed us that. And we're right now experiencing inflation on the food prices, okay? And people are suffering, right? So the famine is coming, and I'm gonna talk on the famine, man, because in America, there is food insecurity happening right now in America. 86% of Americans feel stressed because of grocery bills, and you can Google it yourself. I literally have it right now, and it shows the state that America is in. It shows the state of Esau's kingdom. It shows the times that we're in, because a kingdom that is thriving and flourishing does not have its citizens, its residents, feeling food insecurity, feeling home insecurity. You know what I'm saying? Feeling stress and suffering from paranoia that they can be bombed. Maybe I shouldn't have said that word because you know how the algorithm is, but it's true. People are in fear of being attacked by the enemy countries. You know what I'm saying? People are living in all types of different kinds of fear, instability for their livelihood. You think this is a kingdom that is flourishing? This is a kingdom that is on its end, that is about to die. And it is dying. So because it's dying and it's on its deathbed, right? The animal that is Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, they're going to be lashing out. They're going to be lashing out, and they're going to be bringing hell and chaos to the world. You see what I'm saying? Imagine a wild animal backed up. You know how they lash out, man. That is the state that Esau is in. So they're going to do their last big one, their last hurrah. And they're going to be buck wild. And right now, they're taking their time with gradually bringing about hell and chaos to the world. All of these systems around you are breaking down, okay? And they're doing it to bring about their new world order, which is going to have the mark of the beast, which is the microchip at the forefront of it. But the signs are very telling, and it's a joyous thing for us. It's a joyous thing because we're literally witnessing the downfall of our enemies, right? It says it in the scriptures, man. Let me see. Ecclesiasticus chapter 25 and verse 7, there be 9 things which I have judged in mine heart to be happy, and the 10th I will utter with my tongue. A man that hath joy of his children, and he that liveth to see the fall of his enemy, right? So we're literally witnessing the fall of our enemy. Ever more so in these times. Day by day, we're witnessing his collapse, and we're going to witness him acting like a wild animal with his back against the wall, lashing out, right? It's a great thing to see, man. So this is excellent for us, okay? But this famine and the situation in America is what it is, and as the scriptures say, the city of confusion is broken down. And it is broken down, and the scriptures say that we would have healed Babylon, but there's no healing for it. There is no healing for Babylon. Things are only going to get worse. Babylon referred to as America. Things are only going to get worse. These are those days, man. All right? The scriptures say that in the last days, perilous times shall come. And then the scriptures talk about, in that same precept, the behavior of the people in the world, and those people have those behaviors, right? Of how they will be in the last days, right? So the perilous times are upon us, and it is happening to our people, just like how it happened before, right? When Esau started to come back into power in his fullness. In 1492, he first targeted the Northern Kingdom Israelites, the so-called Latinos, Native Americans, and Seminole Indians. And he ran that same playbook again, right? When Trump came into power, the whole immigration and ICE thing. And you know that they actually were talking about deporting Native Americans too in America. Yeah, news came out about that, about not being natural citizens. Can you imagine? All right, but this is how the devil operates. Now you have the Negroes that are being hauled up in DC, and it's going to happen worse. It's going to be all across America on a mass scale, and all across the world, man. All people are going to be suffering. Okay? So this food situation, 86% of Americans are worried about grocery prices again. All right, and then I was watching the video. You know, it's really pathetic. I'm watching the video, and they're like, yeah, we're in these times, it's terrible. The inflation is happening. 86% of Americans are suffering. The vast majority are suffering from food insecurity. Some people are starving. People are missing meals because It's not just an inflation for food, it's an inflation for everything. So your purchasing power is decreasing because your salary remains the same, but everything around is increasing. People prioritize certain things such as shelter first. They prioritize shelter, they prioritize transportation, right? Luxury things are already off the table. Luxury items are already off the table. They're no longer being able to buy luxury items like, I don't know, certain things like clothes, certain clothes, you know, all of those things. Jewelry, clothes, trips abroad, trips to hotels, trips to other countries, all of these kinds of miscellaneous purchases that are considered luxury purchases, right? Those are already off the table. Right now, people are worrying about having a roof over their head, a means of transportation to get to work, and food on the table, which they're skipping meals. The situation is actually quite dire, but you people are so used to adapting that you just don't realize it as yet. But don't worry, the Lord is going to make you realize it in a very severe and heavy way in due time. Okay, because things are escalating right now, right? Because famine happens in stages, right? So things can happen in certain stages. And so first, the stage that we're happening is right now is where people aren't able to buy the food, but eventually it's going to be where there's going to be a rationing for the food in the stores, and then it's going to be a full-blown famine. And then one thing that they said on the news site, right, while trying to help people with saving, how to save their money to ration, whatever, they were saying that it's going to become worse next year. So the situation isn't getting any better. Repent. All right? Repent. Okay, so the stage is that this thing will happen. Ezekiel 4 and verse 16, moreover he said unto me, Son of man, behold, I will break the staff of bread in Jerusalem, and they shall eat bread by weight and with care, and they shall drink water by measure and with astonishment. Okay, so the Lord is going to break the staff of bread in Jerusalem, which is you Israelites, which is already happening. Okay, where they shall eat bread by weight. So there's going to be a rationing of the food, where it's going to be like, okay, well, we can only afford this much food, and right now we can only eat this much on Monday, this much on Tuesday, this much on Wednesday, in order for it to last for the week. Or else if we don't ration it out, we don't have any more money to buy food, we are going to starve, right? And the reality for some people already is that they are starving. They're missing meals, right? And they shall drink water by measure and with astonishment. And it's the same thing again. All right? And the word astonishment here in the Hebrew is shamama1, which says horror, dismay, and appallment, right? Because, this society isn't used to such things, especially over here in the West. You actually have a famine that's going on in Sudan and famine that is happening in Gaza, right? And now people will look at those situations and be like, oh, well, we've heard about famine happening in such places, but, there was a famine in Venezuela a few years ago as well, all right? But the famine is going to increase. So people are going to be in a state of shock when it is that they really have to start rationing out the food, more and more people. right? So that's one of the stages to happen. And then it's going to reach to the point in 2nd Ezra chapter 6 and verse 22. And suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown, the full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty. So it says suddenly they shall be found empty, right? So it's going to go from, you know, the whole, what we're suffering through right now, the food inflation, people purchasing less food, then it's going to be less food in, you know, the grocery stores. You know, in America you have like Kroger's and you have Publix, and then out here in Jamaica you have, you know, Hilo and Le Houston and places such as that, right? You have Walmart, the Price Mart, and all of those places that have food, right? Those places are just not going to have any food eventually. Okay? Then it says, and the trumpet shall give a sound, which when every man heareth, they shall be suddenly afraid. So they're going to be afraid, man. There's going to be a great fear when the announcement is made. And right now they are making announcements, right? By way of the news and whatever else. That's how they make their announcements, right? So they're literally telling you about the food insecurity that's happening on a very heavy mass scale. 86% of the people. That ranges from literally the lower class and the middle class, if the middle class even still exists. You know what I'm saying? So who isn't suffering from this right now? Probably what is deemed by the upper middle class and the upper class aren't feeling this, okay? But the majority are. And guess who the majority are as well? You Israelites, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. You're the bulk of what is, of who is feeling this stress. I remember even before with the whole tariff situation, because, you know, they're talking about the tariff situation will bring about, you know, food insecurity, right? There were Israelites on the news talking about, oh, we already starving, we can't afford no food already. That was months ago. So imagine the situation now, okay? So it's going to happen like that. And then it says, at that time shall friends fight one against another like enemies, and the earth shall stand in fear with those that dwell therein. The springs of the fountain shall stand still, and in 3 hours they shall not run. So the famine is going to be so sore that the times are going to become extremely chaotic, where people are going to be fighting against one another. So people that are friends and family and neighbors, listen, all of that is going to be destroyed. Your neighbor who is ever so generous to you and shares with you, you know, that's going to be finished. And that's probably even going to finish before the famine hits in full. Because once the food shortages start to hit and people really realize, like, okay, hold on now. I really have to ration this out for each day. They're going to have panic. And people are going to be very selfish. It's going to be every man for himself. And even if people aren't selfish in those times, people that are family, it's all going to become every man for himself in due time. And people are then it's going to reach the point where people are fighting one against another for food, for resources. All right? This is where it's all heading towards. This is the time of Jacob's trouble spoken about in the scriptures. Okay? Jeremiah. And this is what you should hope to not have to be a part of. This horrible and terrible time. Jeremiah chapter 30 and verse 4. And these are the words that the Lord Yahweh spake concerning Israel and concerning Judah, talking about the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom respectively. For thus saith the Lord Yahweh, we have heard a voice of trembling, of fear, and not of peace. Ask ye now and see whether a man doth travail with child? Wherefore do I see every man with hands on his loins, as a woman in travail, and all faces are turned into paleness? Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. Right? So it's a time like never before upon us as a nation. It is the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. He who? The elect of the nation of Israel, who will hear this word and will receive this word and sincerely believe in this word, and sincerely believe in Yahweh Shemishai, and sincerely believe in the mercies of our power, and believe in the prophecies and the judgments and what is to come, and it will have fear upon them. Okay? But the majority of our people will not have this spirit. They will not. It's simple as that. As it says in the book of 2nd Esdras, chapter 9 and verse 22, let the multitude perish then which were born in vain. So the multitude are the majority of our people, they simply won't get it. So the warning is for, you know, the elect of the nation of Israel to know about what is to come, but also you wicked unbelieving Israelites, you must know your judgment and what is to come. So you will die of the pestilence, and you will die of the sword, and you will die of the famine. And there will be no care about you when you're suffering from it, because you turned your back on our power, and you're going to turn your back on our power in the ultimate way when you take that microchip, which is the mark of the beast. You would have bent the knee to Esau Edom and looked at him, the creation, as your salvation. The Lord is going to destroy you. All right, but Jacob's trouble is coming. Right, and Jacob's trouble is going to have this time that is coming, which it very much is upon us, very close. You know, we can say that it is the beginning stages of these times. 2nd Ezra chapter 15 and verse 14. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their action shall stand in their power. So it's going to get buck wild out in the streets, man, especially in America. There are going to be all kinds of tensions that are going to be happening, that are going to be escalating among the people around in the world, right, in America, for all kinds of different reasons, right, and the famine is going to draw people out, right, to be of a violent behavior, okay, and it's going to be so terrible and so chaotic that the people around the world are not going to listen to the authorities anymore. They're truly going to be out in the streets, like the movie Bushwick, right? A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. So this is talking about martial law. Martial law will be coming, man. Okay? And as you can see right now in DC, with the mobilization of the National Guard, the military, it is like a soft martial law that is happening, right? They're not telling you that you can't leave as yet. But don't be surprised if they do. Don't be surprised if they say that they have to quarantine off the place, to not allow anyone to go out or go in, to allow them to remedy whatever situation they claim is happening out there in DC. You know, I wouldn't be surprised. And you know, a martial law can come in different ways. You can have a martial law of military, for whatever reason they want to call it. There's also a medical martial law that they can bring about because of disease, right? They can even bring about martial law due to a famine as well. There are many reasons for them to bring it about. It is something that is coming. For because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread, and for great tribulation, Jacob's trouble. Now, Jacob's trouble is called Jacob's trouble, right? A warning unto the nation of Israel. And it's only a warning unto the nation of Israel because salvation is only for us, right? But Jacob's trouble is going to affect everyone. Jacob's trouble is going to affect all of the nations. Everybody's going to be suffering from the chaos and calamity that is going to be happening to the world, from the judgment that are going to be occurring from Yahweh Shemishai. White people, Edomites, Chinese people, Arabs, India, whatever, man, they're all going to be suffering it too. But the Lord only talks about Israel, because the Lord only loves and cares about Israel. But all the heathen are going to be suffering. Okay? So Jacob's trouble is that time of great tribulation. And it says, they shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread, and for great tribulation. The lack of bread. It's the scriptures are very pointed. The lack of bread, the famine. Now, the wicked elite of Esau Edom, they have revealed their plans for the NWO, and they have revealed in their media their plan and how they intend to do it. And they know that the famine is going to be a very powerful tool that they're going to use to bring the chaos to the world. It is one of their steps that they're going to use at a certain point in time, you know? Because right now, while they're breaking down certain systems to implement the new digital system to facilitate the microchip, which is the mark of the beast, they're breaking down other systems as well, like the food supply chain and the food system, and they're bringing about many diseases, and they're implementing all kinds of things. All kinds of things are happening, man. All right, so eventually they're going to unleash the famine, and that's when you know things are really hot, like really, really hot. Okay, so because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation, right? So people are going to be murdering one another, man, for food, for a piece of bread, for a piece of for canned goods, you know. Those are going to be of a very high currency in these last days. Okay, and then Esau, with the famine going on, he's going to tell you, yo, in order for you to eat, you're going to have to take this microchip, and that's how many people are going to take it. Other people are going to take it because they simply will see it as the new hot thing, the new way of technology, the way how life simply is going, because the world has been conditioned to love and accept technology and to be a part of it. You know, so some people will fall for the deception of, you know, how it is being sold to the people and whatever else. But many people are also going to take the microchip because of the hellish condition, and that's why it is called the hour of temptation. It's going to be a trial of taking the microchip or not. Okay, it is going to be a test of faith for those of us that believe, to see if we really believe in Yahweh Shemishai. All right, but it is coming upon us, man. Okay, and in 2nd Esdras chapter 16 and verse 17, it says, woe is me, who will deliver me in those days? The beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the powers shall stand in fear. So you see, let me read it again. All right, because for all of the words that I have used to describe the situation at hand, right, the scriptures explain it explicitly. The prophet Ezra saw what is to come, and he said, woe is me, who will deliver me in those days? Right? It's rhetorical because we know the answer to that. Yahweh Shemishai will be our deliverer in those days. But for what the prophet Ezra saw, how gruesome the situation is going to be. You know, he's an Israelite, and you know Jake, you know, put an exaggeration to things, but it wasn't just an exaggeration for the prophet Esdras. For what he saw, this is how he felt. Okay, the beginning of sorrows and great mournings. The beginning of sorrows and great mournings. And what does it say in the book of Matthew chapter 24 that I read earlier? When the disciples asked Yahushua, what are the signs that we will be seeing, right? And then it says, rumors of wars, nation rising against nation, kingdom against kingdom, famines, pestilences, and earthquakes. And then in Matthew chapter 24, and I believe verse 8, Yahushua says, these are the beginning of sorrows. You see? The beginning of sorrows. So we are going to be experiencing pestilence and famine and earthquakes. And those are just the beginning of sorrows. So this is what Esdras is seeing, right? The time of those sorrows. So the beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the power shall stand in fear, right? So even the power shall stand in fear, those that are in charge, right? This thing is going to go perhaps even way crazier than they imagined, okay? The beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? Behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. But for all these things they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges. So that's talking to the Israelites. Because only an Israelite can turn from their wickedness, because only an Israelite can repent. Only an Israelite can have faith. right? So that's why in 2 Ezra chapter 15 it says, for all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness. That's talking about Israelites who refuse to repent. Okay? So here it's talking about the Israelites who refuse to repent, right? So even when they're going through the judgment, okay? And remember the Lord, the scriptures say that the Lord has created spirits for vengeance. So there are going to be a multitude of things that are going to be happening to bring you to your death. Behold, victuals shall be so good, cheap upon earth, that they shall think themselves to be in good case, and even then shall evils grow upon earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. For many of them that dwell upon earth shall perish of famine, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. So there's no escaping the Lord's judgment. So you see, it says, many of them that dwell upon earth shall perish of famine, and the other that escape hunger shall the sword destroy. And so you know how many of them are going to escape the hunger? They're going to take the microchip, which is the mark of the beast, and then they're going to have a period of time where they're going to be eating. But the judgment for taking that, in America, you're going to be destroyed by the thermonuclear fire for taking the microchip. So you're only going to have some kind of reprieve for a little bit of time, as the scriptures say, for when they shall say peace and safety, then shall sudden destruction cometh upon them. They will think themselves to be safe. They will think to themselves, oh, finally, they get to eat food and they get to be a part of society again, and life is going to continue as they know it, and you know, they're no longer on the outskirts, you know, the outskirts of the cities, in the chaos of it all, where there's no food and whatever else, and then they're going to still perish by the sword. And what's going to be that ultimate sword? The ICBM missiles. And the Lord will still get you any which way, because when you take, right, the microchip, which is the mark of the beast, in Revelation chapter 16 and verse 2, it talks about the grievous sore. So people are going to be suffering from a cancer wound, right? An ulcer, a cancer, a pus, right, coming from it, oozing from it, from the microchip. So you're going to have some people that are going to be dying from just even taking the microchip. So there's no escape. Okay? And the dead shall be cast out as dung, and there shall be no man to comfort them, for the earth shall be wasted, and the city shall be cast down. So the dead shall be cast out as dung. Why? Because there's going to be mass death. There won't be any time for funerals. Okay? There won't be time to mourn the dead. You people that don't repent to our power, you Israelites, the Lord is going to destroy your families. The Lord is going to make you witness the death of your mothers and your fathers, and those that you love most, your children, are going to die. They're going to die of famine. They're going to die of pestilence. They're going to die of the sword. All right, they're going to be dying of all of these things, man. You're going to witness it. And some of you are going to be the ones to die and have your loved ones witness it. All right? And your bodies are going to be discarded out in the streets just like that. Because every man is going to be for himself, and every man is going to be looking to just try to survive, but they're going to be trying to survive in a foolish way. They're going to leave their survivability to carnal means. But it's all about the spirit of Yahweh Shemishah. Your salvation is through the spirit of the Lord, by having faith in our power. That is the only way to escape what is to come. Right? As it says in Ephesians chapter 2 and verse 8, for by grace are ye saved through faith, and that not of yourselves, it is the gift of Yahweh Shemishai. So you must have faith in the Lord in order to be saved, which is completely spiritual. There's no carnal thing for us to do. You know what I'm saying? There are no contingency plans or nothing like that. It is all simply just having belief in Yahweh Shemishai to get us through, and hoping that we have the spiritual mark spoken about in Ezekiel chapter 9 verse 4, which in the Hebrew, it is the word Sawa, a spiritual mark. The mark of the beast is a physical mark, which is a charagma in the Greek, which is that microchip. All right, so we hope to have the spiritual mark, the mark of exemption. Okay? So that's what it is, man. That's the message. Repent ye, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand. The times are showing themselves very clear that we're at the end. the scriptures say to remain circumspect and to redeem the times, because the days are evil, and they are in fact very evil. All right, and things are just going to get much worse, man. All right, and so looking at the times that we're in, the scriptures say that now it is high time to awake out of sleep, for now is our salvation nearer than when we believed. And our salvation is in fact nearer than when we believe. Okay, and it is out of these terrible times of Jacob's trouble that we shall be saved, Lord willing. I'm a part of that number. In the book of Daniel, chapter 12 and verse 1, it says, and at that time shall Michael, the great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people, and there shall be a time of trouble such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, every one that shall be found written in the book. So the Lord will deliver the elect of the nation of Israel, those that have faith, out of Jacob's trouble, and before the thermonuclear destruction hits America. So with that, all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh Shemishai B'Shem Kodesh. And once again, shalom and double honors unto the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, unto the brothers who are doing this work in truth and sincerity around the four corners of the earth. And shalom as well to the men, women, and children that believe sincerely. Shalom to you all, man. Our salvation is very close, and the way things are looking, anything can pop off at any time right now. And you know, one major event can really escalate it. Shalom.